The situation in Real Madrid is pure chaos right now, especially with the latest explosions in the locker room. We are hearing about conflicts and tensions between players and staff, and even with the manager himself. It sounds like everything in the club is falling apart. And the man at the center of it all is Kylian Mbappé. And if you really think about it, this situation was coming long before he joined Madrid. We just didn't see it. Mbappé arrived as the final jewel of the Galactico crown, but football is cruel, and sometimes things don't go as planned. When there's a problem, you have to find the source, and we believe that Mbappé is the problem, but not in the way you think. We took a look into this situation, and we believe that we've found the source. Let's talk about why the dream move became a nightmare. Before Mbappé arrived, the Real Madrid squad operated with a fluid, selfless chemistry. And when news broke out that he was joining in the summer of that year, Madridistas were celebrating. Over 80,000 fans packed the Santiago Bernabéu for his unveiling, a turnout comparable only to Cristiano Ronaldo's in 2009. But what they failed to consider is that inserting a superstar into a system that was already winning can cause friction. At first, everything seemed smooth, but after he became comfortable, the team became tactically paralyzed. His ego was the biggest factor here. Now, I know that we always point at the ego in most of our videos, and that's generally because we have to, but trust me, this one is a special case. His former team, PSG, didn't just pay him. They built a reality around him where he never had to hear the word no. I mean, hey, the president of France phoned him multiple times to talk about contract extensions, personally emphasizing his importance to the nation. Managers were reportedly hired and fired based on his preferences. Even Messi and Neymar were essentially treated as supporting actors in the Kylian show. Now I want you to put yourself in his shoes. In that environment, you are the infrastructure. You have the power to influence who coaches the team and who plays beside you. What would you think? How would you move? You can only imagine. But it wasn't always like this. The Monaco Mbappé had no ego to protect. He was a pure predatory force of nature. He was just a young boy with a dream, just like any other. In sports psychology, there's this idea that adversity is the furnace that builds character. But for years, Mbappé lived in a climate-controlled room. When you don't have to fight for your spot or adapt your game to help others, you become comfortable. Because regardless of the circumstance, your name is still on the team sheet. This is the main factor that contributed to him becoming a specialist in being the main character. I know you're asking, how does that support the claim that Mbappé is the problem? Well, we've arranged a timeline of events to give you the perspective of the team from the moment he stepped into the club to now. Keep in mind that this is just speculation from on-field body language analysis. This is football. We all know that what happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. So take it with a grain of salt. It all starts in the summer of 2024. Mbappé joins Madrid as the ultimate Galactico. His massive individual status immediately shifts the gravity. On top of that, his arrival coincided with the departure of Toni Kroos and Nacho. They were the team's quiet leaders, and there was nobody else to fill the void with humility. For the rest of the season, Mbappé was scoring, hitting 44 goals in his debut season. It looked like a success, but this success came at a cost, because while he scored, the team's overall output dropped, and Madrid ended up not winning a major trophy that season. The focus on his individual Golden Boot pursuit started to alienate his teammates, who must have felt like secondary characters in his movie. Statistically, Mbappé was winning, but if you look at the right stats, it tells you a whole different story. When you look at this graph showing the pressing heat map for Vini against Mbappé's, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Here's Bellingham's. Naturally, this affected his teammates' egos. Take a look at this clip. At the beginning of the counter-attack, you can see that both Vini and Mbappé are up the field. And ironically, they're both in the left flank. Look at what happens next. Apart from the defenders, Vini and Bellingham are the only ones who made the effort. By January 2026, the tension was so high that Xabi Alonso was sacked. Reportedly, some star players, led by the ego-heavy atmosphere, refused to follow his strict tactical instructions. And then in May 2026, the confrontations. The ego didn't just affect the team, it redefined it. It's easy to put all the blame on Mbappé, but when you look past the number 9, you see a team that's lost its balance, and in many ways, its discipline. A collapse this spectacular is rarely the work of just one man. Mbappé might be the catalyst, but the Real Madrid DNA of collective sacrifice has vanished across the board. Vinicius was the undisputed king of the left flank. But since Mbappé constantly drifts into his left-wing spaces, it's easy to see him getting frustrated, and that's where the ego sets in. Now he doesn't even press. Bellingham, on the other hand, is perhaps the biggest victim of the new hierarchy. He was the primary goal-scoring threat, but now he's been forced into a deep-lying engine room role to compensate for the fact that the front two do almost no defensive work. This has led to visible physical exhaustion and a dip in his own goal output. He's doing the dirty work so the superstars can stay up front, and the resentment is starting to show in his body language. Valverde and Tchouaméni were supposed to be the new leaders, but the tension in the club recently reached a physical breaking point. Their recent training ground bust-up proves that the frustration is internal and unstable. Everyone is trying to prove they are still the main character in a story that has become too crowded. Fixing a fracture this deep requires more than just a tactical tweak. It requires a cultural reset and a ruthless exercise of authority. And evidently, Arbeloa is not that figure. They need a managerial strongman. Hard choices have to be made, and a tactical fix is a must. If they don't make a major move this summer, then we're just looking at the end of an era. Throughout this video, we've made Mbappé look like the villain and the problem. But that's further from the truth. Mbappé is the best player in the team, and what we're trying to show you is how the presence of a great can affect people. If someone greater and more accomplished than you came into your team, you'd probably react the same. The solution is not any of the players leaving. Just like we've said before, they need to drop their egos and play for something larger than themselves.